From the UNC Hussman School of Journalism and Media, connecting Carolina's campus and community, this is Carolina Week.
Thanks for joining us for our first show of the school year. I'm Zach Engler.
And I'm Kirsten Clark. Let's jump right into what's happening on campus with COVID-19. At the end of the spring semester, it seemed like the fall semester would be a normal one, but that was before the Delta variant caused coronavirus numbers to spike. Joining us now to talk about what this means for us on campus is reporter Devontae Anthony. Devontae?
Yeah, Kirsten, UNC welcomed more than 30,000 students back to campus this semester, right as coronavirus numbers in the state started increasing. Many students and faculty wanted the university to require vaccines, but that didn't happen. Here's what's required. You have to be either vaccinated or be tested for COVID twice a week. Let's come this way and take a look at the numbers. As of today, 91% of students, 95% of faculty, and 83% of staff say that they are vaccinated. The COVID numbers look a lot better than they did a year ago, although they are still high. So far, 490 students and 78 employees have tested positive. Besides vaccination and testing requirements, testing protocols, the only rule this semester is to wear a mask indoors. Many faculty and students say this just isn't enough to keep the campus safe. But so far, the administration has not responded with any changes. Kirsten, Zach.
Thanks, Devontae. With the new pandemic rules in place, the university has created new COVID-friendly ways to study and socialize. Big tents with tables and chairs have been placed around campus to give students extra space to study or eat lunch while minimizing the spread of COVID-19. Some of these tents are located in the quad and behind Carroll Hall. They can hold around 50 to 100 people.
The university is requiring students to provide either proof of vaccination or get weekly tests. But could some students be submitting fake vaccination cards to get around having a test? Reporter Claire Galt has the latest.
The growing concern over fake vaccination cards prompted UNC to send a notice to staff and students a few weeks ago. This raises concerns about whether this means the start of another rocky school year. Across the internet, fake vaccination cards are popping up for download or purchase. It's a way some people are trying to get around vaccine and testing requirements. UNC sent this formal notice to the Carolina community saying students and staff who break the COVID-19 protocols may be subject to disciplinary action. At UNC, proof of vaccination is submitted electronically, which could make them harder to verify. As of September 2nd, 90% of students say they've received the vaccine. The university has not said if or how they're verifying proof of vaccination. In Chapel Hill, Claire Galt, Carolina Week.
The threat of coronavirus is even greater for those on campus who are immunocompromised. Having a weakened immune system increases your chances of getting severely ill from COVID-19. UNC student Connor Kerr says it's important for classmates to know what kind of impact they could have on others.
At any time, we're at elevated risk of catching it and having serious complications with it. And so that when you go out and do something, then that could trickle back to us pretty easily and cause issues.
UNC Health is now offering third doses of the COVID-19 vaccine for those who are immunocompromised.
Sports venues across campus are reopening at full capacity for the first time in over a year. Our Nick Perlin reports on what you should expect when you head to a game.
Kenan Stadium will operate at full capacity this season. This comes after last season when football games could only hold 7% capacity. Junior Katarolowski is excited for the atmosphere a full stadium will bring.
Being able to actually feel the environment, feel the energy again is just really, really cool. A really exciting thing that's happening.
UNC will recommend but not require vaccinations or a negative COVID test to enter any sporting events this fall. Masks will be required at indoor events, but not outdoor events. If you want to go to a volleyball game, your mask is required. But Saturday at Kenan, your mask isn't required, but it is recommended. Katie Boyer is a junior at UNC who feels like the school's decision might be a little risky as cases continue to rise on campus.
I do kind of wish that they had required vaccinations. I understand that does alienate certain populations. So I think they kind of had to make the best decision that they could with what they were given, but I am a little bit nervous that there will be a lot of positive COVID cases coming from the games.
Other schools, like LSU, are requiring either proof of vaccination or a negative COVID-19 PCR test 72 hours before kickoff to enter the stadium. UNC Athletics Director Bubba Cunningham says he can't wait to welcome fans back into the stands safely. In Chapel Hill, Nick Perlin, Carolina Week.
UNC will have its home opener this Saturday night against Georgia State.
You probably already know about Chapel Hill's indoor mask mandate, but did you know it also applies to indoor sports? For those looking to play pickup basketball on an indoor court, masks are required just as they are in any other indoor setting. For many Chapel Hill students playing inside one of the university's gyms, it's been tough to follow the renewed mask mandate. In certain instances, employees at Fetzer Gym have resorted to using megaphones to remind all gym visitors that masks are required. Face masks aren't required on outdoor courts, which could be a good option for many students as the weather cools down.
When it comes to COVID protocols, UNC isn't the only school closely monitoring the numbers. Duke University updated its COVID guidelines after nearly 400 students, faculty, and staff tested positive for the virus. Masks are now required to be worn both inside and outside on campus. Group indoor dining has also been suspended. The university allowed faculty the option to teach remotely for 2 weeks.
After an abrupt ending to their college careers, UNC Chapel Hill is welcoming the class of 2020 back to campus with a very special guest. On October 10th, the alumni will celebrate their commencement in Kenan Stadium. Former UNC basketball head coach Roy Williams will bring back his infectious energy, this time as the commencement speaker. We asked some of the 2020 graduates about the choice.
To close out my graduation, then have like the guy I watched growing up all throughout my childhood and when I was at college, like coach basketball. And he's just a huge part of that community, and he's forever a Tar Heel.
And I remember when he announced retirement, I was like depressed for a day. So I like having to cope with like losing a legend and things. But now he's coming back to do a commencement ceremony. It makes it more worth it to me to be able to come back and have him give the commencement speech.
Being the only class that was not there the previous year when they lost, and then being there for when they won, I think it's really unique that we started our Carolina experience with that, and now we're wrapping it up with Roy Williams retiring and then coming back to be our commencement speaker.
You can register for the commencement ceremony on the General Alumni Association website starting September 24th.
There's a lot to look forward to in the UNC Hussman School of Journalism and Media, especially after one important figure recently made a big announcement. I sat down with the woman at the center of it all.
A decision shortly to either resign or remain in office. Our sources tell us
the name Susan King carries a special weight in the world of journalism and on the campus of UNC Chapel Hill. In the beloved J School, she's nearly a celebrity. Just ask UNC alumna turned DC public policy analyst Caroline Bass.
You should know her, and we should know her. And as young women journalists and writers and people who want to be change makers in this world, she is a person to just aspire to. And the fact that we've had her as our dean has made such a difference for our school, for me as a student, and for so many generations of students to come.
King has served as dean of the now UNC Hussman School of Journalism and Media since January of 2012. Her dedication and work towards creating more opportunities for students and faculty speaks for itself.
We really have prepared students to look around corners, and they are leaders already. People graduated 8 years ago were at the top of the business because they have the great values that we hold dear at the school and have held for years. But we've brought them into the modern age by really bringing experimental learning. People don't talk about what they're going to do. They do journalism. They do strategic campaigns. They do television.
That's in addition to King's fight for diverse funding opportunities, the development of new state-of-the-art facilities like the Curtis Media Center, and her recruitment of young, passionate faculty members. However, last month, King announced that she would be stepping down from her position as dean after almost a decade of service right here in Carroll Hall.
Bottom line, 10 years was always my plan. I didn't expect it to come in the pandemic. I didn't expect it to come after, a very challenging time in the spring with Nicole Hannah-Jones. But I really am sticking to my guns and saying this is the moment to move on and let another leader come in and bring their vision to this great school.
The announcement resulted in mixed reactions, as well as questions from students and faculty. But for Bass, the answer is clear.
Her leadership and her legacy, not only does it scream, paving the way for young female journalists to come, but it screams that we too must take that torch. It's not an end of an era, but it's more of a passing of the torch because we still have so far to go.
And although King's time as dean is coming to an end, she says she's very excited to continue her legacy in the Hussman School as a professor.
The UNC Police Department is taking a look at its safety protocols after an officer left a gun inside Graham Memorial Hall on Thursday. UNC police say the weapon accidentally fell out of an officer's holster. Someone later found the gun and reported it. The department called the mistake unacceptable.
Even the pandemic did not slow down the progress of UNC's academics, and this did not go unnoticed. The academic ranking of world universities has released their 2021 list, and UNC has improved their nationwide and international rank this year. Chapel Hill moved up a spot from 2020, becoming number 29 in the world and 20th in the country out of all universities. This makes UNC the highest ranking university in North Carolina, beating out Duke by 3 places. The rankings are decided based on factors including academic performance, subject areas within the school, and academic achievements by alumni and staff in their fields.
I personally feel like we should be at the top of the list. UNC is the best place to be, Kirsten, especially when the weather is as nice as it has been recently.
Zach, I have to agree. Fall weather is the absolute best, but will these cooler temperatures last, or do we have more heat in our future? Here with our forecast is meteorologist Joey Biacconi.
Well, we had a relatively cool and dry start to our September here in Chapel Hill. I expect the cool part to be the same for a little while longer, but I can't say the same for the dry part, as we're going to have some showers and thunderstorms moving through our area later on today. And this is due to a cold front that's set up over the western portions of the state right now. This is going to move into the Chapel Hill area at about 4 or 5 o'clock today. We're going to see some isolated thunderstorms and showers. I don't expect to see too many of these go severe, but if they do, it's likely due to just some strong wind and some small hail. I don't expect a widespread severe weather outbreak today. But going into tomorrow, that front's going to move into the Atlantic, and we're going to have some really cool temperatures following behind it. As tomorrow we only see a high of 79. But as we build into the weekend, we're going to see the temperature start to rise slowly. And as we get into the new school week on Monday, we're going to have some partly cloudy skies in our first 90-degree day of September.
Thanks, Joey. Franklin Street is known for its restaurants and bars, but now there's a new business where you can go to unwind. Tar Heel Escapes is opening just around the corner from K Chula, below the apartments in Suite 170. They welcome student organizations, families, and work groups alike to try to unlock the puzzles and games in 60 minutes or less. You can be dropped in the rainforest and find the secrets in Raiders of the Lost Temple, or crack the cybersecurity codes of a financial disaster with Spy Code. UNC Chapel Hill alumni and owner Dan Harmon brought Tar Heel Escapes after the success of his first company, Bull City Escapes.
Me being a Carolina grad, I really wanted to open up something here in Chapel Hill and provide basically a whole new set of one-of-a-kind rooms for our existing customers, and at the same time bring something new and unique for the entire Chapel Hill community.
To book your first escape room adventure and learn more about Tar Heel Escapes, follow them on Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook.
If you haven't gotten your One Card yet, you might want to make an appointment to get one. The One Card office makes over 4,000 ID cards a year for incoming and transfer students. These cards help students get into dining halls, do laundry, and receive packages. Due to COVID-19, the office has to make ID cards for both the sophomore and freshman classes, causing some students to not have their One Card until the middle of September. First-year Doc Engwall is one of those students.
Your UNC One Card is like your lifeline here, and pretty much everything you do is tied to that card. So not having it really produced a lot of roadblocks, especially as a freshman on campus. I felt like I was already sort of out of the know, and that didn't really help.
Students are encouraged to make an appointment to get your One Card online or stop by the office on the 3rd floor of the student stores.
We've seen a lot of changes at Carolina due to the pandemic, but some students are getting loud about the change to a campus hotspot. Davis Library is one of the most popular spots to study. The lower floors are usually for louder, collaborative work, while the upper floors are for quiet, individual study. But many upperclassmen have noticed that the first floor is much quieter than usual this year, leaving them with no good place to work and study with friends. This has led many students to hang signs and post memes urging others to make the first floor of Davis loud again. Junior Matt Weaver says he misses the collaborative environment.
Now we have sophomores who don't know how Davis is supposed to be because Davis was closed all of last year, and we have freshmen who've never been on campus before, so they don't know how it used to be before COVID. I hope that we get back to a loud Davis.
For the record, there are no new rules at Davis about talking. You're just required to wear a mask. Switching gears now, it is time for one of our favorite segments of the show, Carolina Week Sports.
And with that intro, let's get right to it. Carolina sports are back in action, and this year with fans. I'm Julia Roth. First up, the men's soccer team took the field on Monday against 2-0 Davidson on the road. The Tar Heels got the first score after 33 minutes of action, with freshman Tiga Ikoba drilling the ball here. The freshman from Alabama's impressive start continued, striding down the field to set up a beautiful assist. The celebrations would continue as Ikoba would use his speed to separate, setting up a final goal for the Heels with a laser. Carolina moves on to 3-0-1 on the season and will travel to take on Pittsburgh on Friday. The defending Natty Champ field hockey team is 2-2 after opening the season with 2 straight losses. Ellen Campbell tells us the slow start is not something to panic about.
The Tar Heels' first 2 games were against quality, motivated opponents, Michigan and Iowa.
Both teams, they had a chip on their back from last year. So, every team that we're going to play is going to play like that because we've won 3 times in a row.
I think that was my 3rd loss since I'd been here. So even for me, mentally, it was tough.
It was the first time since 1992 that the Heels had lost 2 in a row. So naturally, mental recovery was going to be tough. But the Heels aren't discouraged. With every new year comes new challenges, and they are ready to take them on.
It's also on us older girls to make them feel comfortable, make them feel confident in playing. We have to bring that out of them. It's not their job to do that.
Earn it the Carolina way. That was the team slogan last year. But this year, they decided to take it in a different direction.
One of our most important values was playing for the person next to you. If you're playing for the person next to you, you're gonna make that extra run. You're gonna give 110%.
In 2 games this past weekend, Carolina had 2 impressive wins, outscoring their opponents 13-2. These impressive wins came as no surprise to Coach Shelton.
She said, I've had championship teams that have lost their first 2 games and come back and still won the national championship. And I think we all have so much belief in ourselves and belief in each other that we just knew that we couldn't let that put us down.
The Heels had an early season loss last year and still went on to win their 3rd straight national championship. These players say they're not going to let those first 2 games define this season. I'm Ellen Campbell, reporting.
UNC football will host Georgia State for its home opener this Saturday at 7:30 in Kenan Stadium. Mack Brown and his team are looking to get back on track after losing to Virginia Tech. Quarterback Sam Howell played well, but Carolina was able to generate only 1 touchdown. The Heels are currently ranked number 24 in the AP poll, down from number 10. Unranked Georgia State also lost its first game. This should be an easy dub for UNC. Emphasis on should be. That's all for sports. Tune in to Sports Extra on Friday for continued coverage of Carolina athletics. Back to you guys.
Thanks, Julia. Saturday marks the 20th anniversary of 9/11, one of the greatest tragedies in American history.
Many of us here at UNC weren't born yet, but on that day 2 decades ago, Carolina Week students captured what the campus was feeling. It was a Tuesday morning. Students headed to classes as the news came in of a plane hitting one of the World Trade Center towers. They gathered around TVs on campus, shocked as they watched the events of the day unfold. A hijacked plane hits the second tower, another hits the Pentagon, and a fourth crashes in a Pennsylvania field. In their grief, Carolina students came together in solidarity, and the community put aside personal differences to unite as Americans. There will be many local events on Saturday to commemorate 9/11. One of the biggest will be the 9/11 Memorial Run hosted by the UNC ROTC. Participants will run the stairs of Kenan Stadium to honor our first responders and those who lost their lives on that tragic day.
That does it for this edition of Carolina Week. Make sure to join us next Wednesday at noon.
Thanks for watching.